Hey folks, this is Ben Gessel. This is kind of a follow-up to my last video here about Disney. And this has to do with a gentleman who Disney was good friends with, and you guys probably know very well. Or at least if you're my age, even a bit younger, and certainly older. Ronald Reagan, President Reagan. So the main topic here, was Reagan a member of the Illuminati? And if not, how close was he to the Illuminati? Well, let's just get a few things right out of the way first. We know the Bohemian Grove is a real place in California. It's not fiction. The Bohemian Grove is a real place in California. It's not fiction. Northern California redwoods. Once a year, a lot of the most elite of the elites in business, media, military, industrial complex, government, and petrochemical and aerospace, all the real powerful industry and political and military leaders and everything, and government leaders and everybody, they get together here. They just have a nice camp, right? They just have bacon and eggs and sing kumbaya. Well, it's a bit more to it than that. What exactly goes on there, we only have some knowledge of. But whatever goes on there, it's often not very good. So Reagan, there's a photograph of Reagan sitting down, listening to another gentleman speak. And lo and behold, right next to him, not too far away from him, is Richard Nixon. Right, Tricky Dick. Some of you guys remember him from earlier time. Right, and then there's some, so what are they doing there? What are they talking about? Well, look, Nixon. I know I know what kind of person Nixon was, and I know a lot of people think he was just evil, scummy. Well, it's just a question of what it was that he was not so great regarding. Everybody has their inner demons and things. I don't personally know all the details of what was wrong with Nixon, other than the whole Watergate scandal, which was very much made public. But I have some growing theories in that area still. But yeah, Nixon was conservative, it's true. But I don't, at this point, see Nixon as being as admirable a person as Reagan. And by the way, the Illuminati connection with U.S. presidents is a very real thing. But if they're not, in my opinion, if a president is not a member of the Skull and Bones Society, or they're not in the club, from their earliest years, then they at least have to work with the Illuminati. They have to say, we're going to at least submit to what you guys want us to do. And if they ever go too far away from that, then they can get assassinated, like what happened to Kennedy, or also, assassination attempts, like what happened to Reagan. It's just a freak thing. It had nothing to do with Illuminati. Oh, no. No. The U.S. president has some serious security, and it's next to impossible to just shoot him without somebody spotting that person. You wouldn't believe the level of security that presidents have. I mean, it's insane. I mean, like surveillance of everything, every building in the surrounding area, anything, they have eyes. The Secret Service has eyes. This video is not about the Secret Service necessarily, but just one phone call to the leader of the Secret Service, say, hey, leave this area open for this person. Okay. So right, yeah, that assassination attempt on Reagan was a real thing from the Illuminati. Because Reagan said a little too much. Kennedy certainly did. Everyone thinks Kennedy's talking about Russia regarding, secrecy and government, and no. It's just not about Russia. Oh man, Kennedy probably was making it sound like he was talking about Russia, but that was what he was hoping, was that he could talk about the Illuminati without it it sounded like he was talking about the Illuminati, right? That was Kennedy's intention, probably. Most likely. But yeah, Reagan said something close to that in a certain speech, and yeah. So, yeah, so Reagan had to play by the rules. So was he a member of the Illuminati? Well, he was friends with Disney, it's true. Both men were conservative. But the funny thing is that Reagan was a member of the Democratic Party and switched to Republican. And sometimes, people, you hear the word flip-flopper, that is almost meaningless to me. What matters more, it's not if you're Republican or Democrat, it's are you conservative or liberal, but even more than that, those two different words, they can still not always be so different. What the real difference is, are you good or evil? I mean, let's just face it. That is the big difference. It's not, are you left leaning or right leaning? It's, are you trying to help people? Are you trying to, take more power for yourself and destroy people? And just, are you letting people? Are you letting people have nutritious food, or are you taking it all for yourself? You can just go down the list. Was Reagan then a member, full card carrying? Was he a fully established member of the Illuminati? No, but he had to work with them to be the president. And he said, "Oh, it's more important that I'm the president, and I'll try to do what I can to work with them because America needs a good, strong leader." That's what Reagan was. That's who he was. He was a man of character. And you can look at the Iran-Contra affair, whatever, the hostage crisis. And this is from when I was taking U.S. history. There was a time when there was some military strikes or something going on military-wise in the Middle East that, happened that was less than ethical, wasn't very good. I was unprovoked and things. When Reagan was questioned about it, Reagan was surprised. He didn't have much knowledge of it. He seemed like, So people look at movies like Clear and Present Danger and they say, oh, this is just fiction. Well, no. I mean, there are so many times. I mean, man. Yes, does Trump know everything that's going on in the government? No, he doesn't. The CIA and FEMA and, NSA and all these other organizations, they are doing all kinds of crap outside the president's knowledge. All kinds of stuff. And who are they led by? Not the president. The president's kind of a puppet. Hate to say it, but he is. Yep. You know who I'm talking about, right? He's in charge. And so the thing is did Reagan know did he have all knowledge of what was happening in the military? No. The Illuminati did? Yes. Why are they doing what they're doing? Well, it's because there are some areas of the world that, in my opinion, are standing up to the Illuminati, and they haven't always fully submitted. And one of those areas is the Middle East, different Middle Eastern countries. You might think it's a West versus Middle East or some kind of clash of Christianity and Islam. No, it's not. It's not that at all. The thing is that, if you have areas of the world that will not submit to the Illuminati, right? The Illuminati is like, oh, you're a rogue nation. We got to, if you have a leader that we establish, it's going to be loyal to us, and that leader decides to do something we don't want to do, yeah, we're gonna bomb the heck out of you. We're gonna replace them, right? Because we can, because we have the U.S. military by the whatever cojones and all the rest of the West and Japan. We're seen as the good guys, and everyone says it's because of the oil. Well, kind of. No, but it's a power thing. And Russia is also like the Middle East. Russia's always stood up to the Illuminati. Even though both Middle Eastern nations and Russia aren't always the most saintly of governments, they still won't submit to the Illuminati, at least more or less. Saudi Arabia, we say Saudi Arabia is a friend to the United States. Well, look, Arabians, they're great people, sure. It's a very conservative culture, sure. There's still a lot of things that maybe don't, anyway, they're different than the West, but it's the government that it has submitted to the Illuminati, or it's like, oh, okay, you guys, okay, fine. And other nations like Iran say no. And so why is it that we're calling Iran and Iraq and North Korea the axis of evil? Well, it's because they won't submit to the Illuminati. That's exactly what's going on. Now, North Korea, of course, is really messed up, and maybe that's a different deal altogether. Or Kim Jong-il is just, he's ill in the head. He's any nation that starves their leaders. Sorry, any nation that starves the people, I meant. Any nation that starves their people is messed up. And so we know that. So North Korea, fine. That's a government thing. But and Iraq is just kind of, got a lot of these infighting things going on still between Kurds and Shiites and Sunnis and stuff. Sunnis. But, Iran, evil? Maybe under Ayatollah Khomeini or whatever, under that leader they had in the 70s. Maybe the government was really oppressive, but nowadays? Are you kidding me? Now, of course, they don't want Israel to exist. But, we have to just kind of understand how these things work. So Reagan wanted, again, to be president because he thought, he could do some good. But he had to submit to the powers that be and what they wanted. And the Illuminati probably likes it when they have presidents that people love, because then that makes their position a lot more secure. So people won't suspect what they're doing. Just think about this for a bit. Just think about it, right? Regardless of what your politics are or whatever. Just think about this. Yeah. So Disney and Reagan were friends. So Reagan might have been a member of the Masons. I don't know, maybe. But again, until you go through that initiation rite in Washington, D.C. or something along those lines, or unless you go through the really evil sacrament that they do. No, you're not Illuminati automatically. Now, there are some really messed up things that happen in Masonic temples sometimes, but it's a question of what the people are like in those Masonic temples. Anyway, so Reagan was all about a lot of great things. You listen to him talk, and you're like, this guy's actually a pretty cool guy. I taught a Cambodian family a while back, piano lessons. They loved Reagan. Why would they love Reagan? Well, because Reagan was a good man. Now, I should also mention this as well. Jimmy Carter, even though if you don't agree with his economic policies, was also a good man. He's also a good man. He's actually a respectable man. Carter knows exactly what I'm talking about. Jimmy Carter, yeah, he's a Democrat from Georgia. Jimmy Carter was actually an honorable man. Now, I'm not saying again, you don't have to be a member of the Illuminati to be a president. You just have to submit to when they want something to happen. They don't even have to. The president is basically a employee of them in a sort. So, or they're kind of it's like they're not in. The president is not in control. He's not in power. He's just a puppet. He's trying to do whatever he can do. Whatever he can do, but the Illuminati has to say, okay, we'll allow that or we won't. That's the way it is. That's the way it's been for a long, long time. At least since Eisenhower, if not before. If we're talking about before that time, the Illuminati was probably a little bit more secretive and maybe not quite as powerful, but they're growing their power at least. The Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, and all that stuff. Now, all the stuff I'm talking about, again, it's all still in the realm of theory, but with time, it's more and more. With time, it's being more and more opened up, right? People, the Illuminati are aware of this. They're aware that people are more and more aware of what's going on. So with time, you'll see more and more that this is for real. But no, I cannot prove. In the way that water is 2 hydrogen atoms in one, oxygen atom. I can't prove that water, so you can prove that water has 2 hydrogen atoms and 1 oxygen atom. But you can't prove the Illuminati quite like that. It's not quite that obvious yet, but in my opinion, it will be this way. I just cannot, I can't, there are a lot of things that are not 100% for sure yet. It's the same way with, to a certain extent, biblical genealogy. We know a lot of things in general about where different people can kind of trace their ancestry from, and all the way back to Noah. We can do that but in so many cases, it's still kind of a vague thing. But we know that, we have a general knowledge of where people went. It's the same similar thing with the Illuminati. Um, but I want to mention specifically that Reagan. So in my opinion, Reagan was not a card carrying member of the Illuminati. He was not a card carrying member of the Illuminati. All right, but he had to work with them in order for him not to get either assassinated or impeached. So, anyway, this is definitely an area where I understand if you guys have a lot of different opinions, that's great, that's fine. And I know a lot of people don't think well of Nixon, that's understandable. But just keep in mind maybe that Nixon was still a better man than pretty much most of the presidents we've had more recently. Now, everybody's wondering if Trump, for instance, is a member of the Illuminati. Well, just like Reagan, even Reagan was a better man. He was a better man, in my opinion, much better man. But Trump had to make deals with the Illuminati to be president. He didn't have to be a member of the Illuminati. He just had to work with them. So Newt Gingrich was right when he said, he's not. He hasn't gone through all the same initiations we have. Oh my gosh, Newt was just like, here you go. This is how it is. Now you could say, oh, Newt was making it up, just kind of feed conspiracy theories, guys. Right? He's just having a bit of fun at the expense of the American public. No, I don't know about that. Like what? You can go back and forth about it, I suppose. You could. But the thing is that Trump is not as chaste as Reagan, not even close, not as godly of a man. Doesn't mean he's a member of the Illuminati. He could, but he said, "Oh, we got to do what we got to do." Now, Trump has talked about the subject. He's talked about the Illuminati. It was very just kind of, in Trump's way, just kind of like in passing. He wasn't trying to draw a lot of attention to it. It's like, oh, this is just, everybody knows about it. But why would he even talk about it if it was fake or fiction or whatever? Again, was it like Gingrich? Was he just trying to, kind of toy with the American public? Now, and you can also ask the question, what kind of person is Newt? So there's a lot of different gradations, in my opinion, of good and evil. And if you're talking about Newt and Trump, they're still not even close to where Reagan was, in my opinion, spiritually. But there are even worse men than Newt, and Trump is not that great. But there are worse men than Trump still. There are. And Trump's done a lot of things that are kind of controversial as well. And we can talk about this subject. Everybody's talking about that stuff. Trump is really just a shadow of Reagan. He's still not the man Reagan was, no matter what anybody says. He's done a lot of, I guess, good things in the country. But again, the focus of this video is Reagan, so I don't want to get too much off topic here. Reagan wasn't a member of the Illuminati. He was just not a member. I mean, he had to work with them. So, there you go. All right. Leave me your thoughts and comments below. I'll catch you guys later. Bye.